Alright everyone, this is Gene for a new episode of Orinda Power. And although I don't have this fish yet, I want to talk a little bit about the blind cave Tetra. So in the past I have kept only 2 in a 10-gallon, but since then I have done quite a lot of research on them, and yeah, since I'm really hoping to get some in the near future, I decided why not to talk about it a little bit, since it is not a fish that a lot of people know yet, but let's bring them to YouTube again, because there isn't quite a lot of videos about them. So the blind cave tetra not barbs, but the blind cave tetras, like the name suggests, are actually blind, and they come from Mexico. And basically what happened to them is that they were once a pretty normal tetra, and there was some kind of earthquake and they got trapped underneath the ground into several cave system. I believe it was 8 cave system, but I'm not sure. And basically they have survived, and in a short time, so less than like 10,000 years, they have actually adapted quite a lot. So the first thing is their pigmentation. So compared to their kind of normal version, the blind cave version have lost pretty much all pigmentation, so they are kind of white and kind of well, actually a little bit like this fish right here. So that's pretty much the coloration to expect. So whitish pink, and so that's pretty much due to the fact that they are exposed to an environment without light. And yeah, that happened to a lot of animals that live underground. They just get white because the sun don't touch their skin and everything. Yeah, I'm just going to film that Daniel and continue to talk about the blind cave. So the blind cave tetra, like I said, come from Mexico. And the other thing, beside their whitish skin, the greatest adaptation they have did is that they actually lost their eyes, because in an environment without light, eyes are just useless. So instead of wasting energy in their eyesight, they have just I think it's a skin that have actually recovered their eyes, and then the eyes have slowly shrink and shrink and shrink and disappeared eventually from generation to generation, which is pretty cool. And also part of their brain have disappeared, so the part that served for ocular purpose is now gone, because yeah, it wasn't serving any purpose. So despite having lost his sense of sight, it is still able to really swim gracefully by using his lateral line, which really serve as radar. And they do like bats in the sense that they use echolocation to swim and avoid obstacle and kind of find their food. From my experience, they are really peaceful. They were a bit nippy toward my bubble-eyed goldfish, but who can blame them? I mean, bubble-eyed, they're just asking to get nipped by everything. And despite being blind, they were pretty graceful and fast-swimming fish. So I wouldn't recommend putting them in an aquarium as small as 5 gallon, and even 10 gallon is quite small for them, especially considering they reach the size of 8 to 10 inch. Centimeters, not inch, centimeters. So it's quite big for a tetra. It's like kind of that big, almost that big, to just compare with my goldfish. So you wouldn't put a big fish like Ghost and RP in a 5 gallon, right? So yeah, blind cave tetra aren't a good choice for a nano aquarium. I would put them in 20 gallon, even though 30 or even 40 gallon would be most than ideal. Especially because, like the dinos, they are quite big swimmers. They just love to swim. And that's a big and important point I just want to make. Sometimes fish are small, like dinos and tiger barbs and rainbow fish and things like that. So sometimes they seem small, but those fish really need much more space than, for example, where are they? Checkred barbs and neon tetras and fish like that, you know. So it's not because a fish is small that he can necessarily thrive in a nano aquarium. But yeah, moving on to the alimentation of the blind cave tetras. The blind cave tetras, they are carnivorous. So even though they will accept flake food, in my experience, they were enjoying flake food quite a lot. They will benefit from live food like live bloodworm and daphnia and mosquito larvae and everything like that. And they kind of seems to have a big bite. So dinos, for example, they really don't seem to have a big bite force. They just have a small mouth. But the blind cave tetras really have a mouth more like a barb or like a minnow almost, which means they can really destroy prey. So putting like a heartworm or something like that could be really good. And finally, for aquascape, I wouldn't put them in a planted aquarium or a typical aquarium for tetras. I mean, a lot of people keep tetras in a biotope that look like the Amazon, with multiple pieces of driftwood and really a jungle of lush plant. But a blind cave tetra really prefer, well, they just live in caves where there isn't vegetation. So I would put more like big structure of rocks and maybe some driftwoods that would look like roots. And if you really want some plants, maybe just moss here and there, and maybe anubias. But they will just be disturbed by real plants. So they don't necessarily will be affected by it, but yeah. So for the temperature, it says 20 to 25 Celsius. And for the pH, it's not like most of the tetras. So they can withstand a range of 6 to 8 in pH. This is kind of normal since they don't live in the Amazon and they don't really get exposed to that much tannin. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say, and especially because I don't have quite a lot of space anymore on my memory card. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you real soon. I really hope I can get some Line Cave Tetra in a near future, so we can experiment quite a lot with them. See you soon. Bye.